to look at the COVID-19 factor, and of course, it's very important that we take a look at the history of pandemics globally and how businesses, you know, are willing to proceed to ensure that they can look at business continuity and how it should be a going concern for every business. So previous pandemics has taken the shape of spread across many countries around the world, and this is not the first of its kind to start with. This is not the first of its kind. There has been pandemics light years ago, light years away, 300 years, 100 years, 200 years from now. There have been pandemics, and the very popular one that happened years ago was the bubonic plague, which affected the world as at that time and recorded huge number of losses to lives. And a century ago, we had the Spanish flu, which also killed as much as 500 million people at this time. The world was in a dire situation. The world was experiencing changes due to this situation. And of course, it is not as prevalent as at now, because the major difference that we experience with COVID-19 is due to the fact people travel from one city to the other, and we didn't have that much air travel as at that time. So this has actually increased the spread of COVID-19 across the entire globe. Now we have seen countries, we have seen cities lock down their borders, which has never happened before. We have seen airlines shut down and are not making as much revenue due to this pandemic. This has really created scare across the globe. It has really created panic across the entire globe. Looking in our local context, Ebola that affected West Africa. Nobody expected this to have happened as at that time, but it has been controlled. Controlled in a sense that in West Africa it has been contained, and we have not had much panic or much scare coming from that particular pandemic. And the economy also had the economic and social impacts due to the Ebola outbreak. We have a record of 53 billion US dollars loss due to the social and economic losses in West Africa alone. And we also saw the variance in the stock markets and share value crashing and coming up and crashing then again. And also we've had threats coming at that time where people try to flag or try to fish out different ways and areas and how they can get in touch with different organizations via emails and all that. So that's happened during that time. So we've seen these situations, and it's not the first time it's happening. So this is a way to let us know the history of pandemics from inception to this point where we find ourselves. So the COVID-19 factor affects major organizations, major businesses, major industries. And looking at the tech industry, starting from the TV, gaming, notebook, laptop production organizations, smartwatches, smart speakers, this has affected a dip, that's caused a dip within these various areas. And now we've seen businesses not being able to produce as much of these machineries. So businesses are dipping in revenue. In production, there's a dip. We are seeing this happening, and this factor is affecting businesses globally. Most businesses now have to work remotely and not having the direct impact that they had when it comes to production. That has to do with the tech industry shipments moving across to the one that affects, everybody, every city, every organization. All right, we've seen the dip in oil prices. Major companies, major organizations, major countries today, all right, made oil their major source of revenue, and there has been a dip in this price. All right, it had never hit negative since inception. This is the first of its kind, hit entering into a dip. Now, major organizations and the big top oils, production organizations have it in a way now that they had never seen before, from moving to producing 100 million barrels of oil per day, and now seeing a dip in demand by 29 million, which is a huge scare to the entire globe and to the entire oil marketing industry. All right, and we now have production dipping by 9 million barrels. And that has affected organizations, that have affected different countries. It has caused a dip and a scare all around the world. Some countries are saying, will this price ever rise again? And it's a major issue that is being faced by the world in general at this time.